When you grow old, 6 ways to handle people who don't respect you. As we age, we gain wisdom, resilience, and experience, yet disrespect remains a frustrating reality for many older adults. Whether it's a dismissive comment, being ignored, or unkind actions, these moments can sting deeply. In this video, we'll explore 6 powerful ways to handle people who don't respect you. Strategies that empower you to stand tall and protect your peace. 1. Use silence. Silence can be your most powerful tool when dealing with disrespect. It's not passive or weak. It's deliberate, thoughtful, and commanding. Sometimes, responding with words only fuels the fire, giving the other person exactly what they want, your energy. But silence shifts the power dynamic. It forces the other person to face their behavior without your involvement, leaving them to sit with the weight of their own actions. Imagine this. You're at a family gathering, sharing a story that's meaningful to you. Someone interrupts or dismisses you with a careless comment. The room grows quiet, waiting for your reaction. You could argue back, trying to defend yourself, but what would that achieve? Instead, you take a breath, lift your gaze, and meet their eyes with a calm, steady stare. No anger, no frustration, just quiet strength. That moment of silence speaks volumes. It says, "I see you, but your words don't define me." It's a message of self-respect, showing that you won't be rattled by negativity. Over time, people will notice this quiet confidence, and it will change the way they treat you. This approach is especially effective because it disrupts expectations. Most people who disrespect others thrive on reactions, anger, frustration, defensiveness. When you deny them that satisfaction, you take away their power. They're left grappling with their own behavior, often feeling uncomfortable or even ashamed. Let me share a personal experience. At a holiday dinner years ago, a younger relative made a dismissive remark about a memory I had shared. I felt a flash of embarrassment and the instinct to defend myself, but instead of reacting, I stayed silent. I put down my fork, met their gaze, and waited. Slowly, the smirk on their face faded. The room grew still. In that silence, they realized their comment had crossed a line. I didn't have to say a word. My presence and composure said it all. Choosing silence doesn't mean you're letting things slide or pretending something didn't hurt. It's about prioritizing your energy and standing firm in your dignity. It's a reminder that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's words. When you practice this, you'll notice a shift, not just in how others treat you, but in how you feel about yourself. So, the next time someone disrespects you, resist the urge to react. Instead, take a deep breath, meet their eyes, and let your silence fill the space. You'll be amazed at how empowering it feels and how effective it can be in restoring respect. Silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of strength. 2. Stop explaining. As we grow older, one of the most liberating lessons we can learn is this: you don't owe anyone an explanation. Your choices are yours alone, and they don't need to be justified to anyone. Yet, the instinct to explain runs deep, especially when someone questions our decisions or makes us feel judged. But here's the truth: explaining often gives others power over your peace. Picture this. You've decided not to attend a family gathering. Maybe you're prioritizing rest, or the event simply doesn't align with what you need right now. As soon as you mention your decision, questions start pouring in. Why not? Don't you love spending time with us? Isn't family important to you? Suddenly you feel cornered, as though your reasons need to satisfy someone else. But they don't. In these moments, resist the urge to over-explain. Instead, respond with calm certainty. A simple statement like, "This works best for me," is enough. It's direct, respectful, and leaves no room for debate. If pressed further, hold your ground. You don't need to elaborate on why your choice is valid. It already is, because you made it. I learned this lesson the hard way when I decided to stop hosting large family gatherings. For years, I felt pressured to be the one holding everything together. It was exhausting, both physically and emotionally. When I finally decided to step back, I was met with endless questions. Why don't you want to anymore? What about tradition? Don't you enjoy having everyone together? At first, I tried to explain about the stress, my health, and how I needed to take care of myself. But no matter what I said, it wasn't enough. The questions kept coming. One day, someone asked again, and instead of explaining, I simply said, "Because this is what works for me now." That was it. No further elaboration. The conversation ended quickly, and I walked away feeling lighter. It was a turning point. I realized I didn't need anyone's approval for my choices. They're mine, and that's reason enough. When you stop explaining, you reclaim your power. It's not about being dismissive. It's about recognizing that your decisions don't need to fit someone else's narrative. It's about honoring your own needs and standing by your choices with confidence. So, the next time someone questions you, pause. Instead of falling into the habit of explaining, offer a simple, firm response. Trust that it's enough. Your life, your choices, and your happiness don't require validation from anyone else. And when you stop explaining, you'll find freedom, not just from others' expectations, but from the weight of trying to please everyone. 3. Create distance. Not everyone deserves a front-row seat in your life. As we age, it becomes clear that protecting our peace often means creating distance from people who don't treat us with respect. This isn't about burning bridges or being unkind. It's about prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being. Imagine this. There's a friend, relative, or even a neighbor who constantly criticizes you, dismisses your opinions, or drains your energy with their negativity. At first, you might brush it off, thinking they don't mean any harm. But over time, their words and actions start to weigh on you. Every interaction leaves you feeling smaller, less confident, or even anxious. Here's the truth. You don't owe anyone your time or emotional energy, especially if they don't respect you. Distance isn't an act of rejection. It's an act of self-respect. It's a way of saying, my peace matters, and I'm choosing to protect it. I remember a friend from years ago who always seemed to have a critical comment. Whether it was about my choices, my hobbies, or even my appearance, they found a way to make me feel small. For a long time, I tolerated it, convincing myself they didn't mean any harm. But every time we spent time together, I left feeling worse about myself. One day, I decided I'd had enough. I didn't confront them or make a big announcement. Instead, I started limiting my interactions. I stopped answering every call, politely declined a few invitations, and created space where their negativity couldn't reach me. The result? A weight lifted. The clarity I gained from that distance made me realize their behavior wasn't about me at all. It was a reflection of their own insecurities. But more importantly, I rediscovered my worth. I saw that I deserved relationships that uplifted me, not ones that tore me down. Creating distance doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as stepping back quietly. You don't need to explain why you're less available, and you certainly don't owe anyone an apology. Your well-being comes first, and those who truly value you will understand that. So, take a moment to reflect. Are there people in your life who consistently disrespect or drain you? If the answer is yes, ask yourself, what am I gaining by staying close to them? If the answer is nothing, it's time to step back. By creating distance, you open the door to positivity. You make room for relationships that nurture you, not drain you. And most importantly, you reaffirm to yourself that your happiness and peace are worth protecting. Always. 4. Hold your head high. Confidence speaks louder than words. When faced with disrespect, the way you carry yourself can change the entire interaction. Holding your head high isn't just about posture, it's about embodying self-worth and showing the world you know your value, no matter what others say or do. Disrespect often comes from people who want to undermine you, to make you question your worth. They use their words or actions as tools to chip away at your confidence. But here's the truth. Their negativity doesn't define you. When you hold your head high, literally and figuratively, you're sending a message. It says, I know who I am, and nothing you do can take that away from me. Let me share a moment from my own life. A few years ago, during a casual conversation, someone made a remark about my age. It wasn't overtly mean, but their tone carried that condescending edge, as if my years made me less relevant. In the past, I might have laughed it off, tried to prove my value, or even felt hurt. But this time, I simply straightened my shoulders, smiled, and continued the conversation as if their comment had no weight. That small act, holding my head high, shifted the dynamic. Their attempt to make me feel small had failed, and it was clear they were unsettled by my calm confidence. Over time, I've realized that this quiet assurance is one of the most powerful tools we have. It doesn't require words or confrontation. It simply requires you to believe in yourself and let that belief shine through your actions. Holding your head high doesn't mean pretending disrespect doesn't sting. It's about choosing not to let it take root in your spirit. It's about deciding that your self-worth isn't up for debate. This kind of confidence is magnetic. When you walk into a room with your head held high, people notice. It's not arrogance. It's a quiet, unshakable belief in yourself. And here's the best part. The more you practice it, the less others' negativity will affect you. The comments and actions that once stung will start to roll off your back. So, the next time someone tries to make you feel small, don't stoop to their level. Instead, take a deep breath, lift your chin, and remind yourself, I am more than their words. I am enough. In that moment, you'll feel your power returning. Not because of what you've said, but because of who you are. Confidence isn't something you ask for. It's something you embody. And that changes everything. 5. Teach people how to treat you. Respect isn't always automatic. It's something you can teach others by setting clear boundaries and standing firm in your expectations. This doesn't mean demanding deference or raising your voice. Instead, it's about calmly showing others how you expect to be treated. It starts with how you carry yourself and what you're willing to tolerate. When someone disrespects you, it can feel easier to brush it off, excuse their behavior, or let it slide to avoid confrontation. But every time you allow disrespect to go unchecked, you're teaching that person it's acceptable to treat you that way. Addressing it doesn't have to involve conflict. It can be as simple as using your words to assert your boundaries. For example, if someone interrupts you mid-sentence, don't let it pass. Respond calmly but firmly with, "Please let me finish what I'm saying." When someone makes a rude comment about your choices, you can say, "That's your opinion, but I'm happy with my decision." These statements aren't confrontational. They're declarations of self-respect, spoken with confidence and clarity. I remember a neighbor who used to drop by unannounced. While their intentions were well-meaning, their visits often disrupted my plans, leaving me feeling like my time wasn't valued. At first, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to seem rude or offend them. But The more it happened, the more I realized I needed to speak up. One day, when they knocked on my door, I gently but firmly said, "I enjoy our chats, but I'd appreciate it if you could call ahead next time to make sure it's a good time for me." It was a small boundary, but it changed everything. They respected my request, and I felt more in control of my time. That moment taught me that setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away. It's about creating a framework for mutual respect. Teaching others how to treat you requires patience, consistency, and courage. It's about recognizing when someone's behavior crosses a line and addressing it with calm authority. When you do this, you send a clear message. This is how I expect to be treated. Over time, people will adjust their behavior to meet your standards because they'll understand that you value yourself, and that they should too. The truth is, you set the standard for how others treat you. By showing respect for yourself, you give others a roadmap for how to interact with you. And when you refuse to accept disrespect, you send a powerful message. I value myself, and I expect you to do the same. It's a transformative act of self-respect that leads to healthier, more fulfilling relationships. 6. Respect yourself. Respect starts from within. It's not just about how others treat you. It's about how you treat yourself. When you respect yourself, you set the tone for every interaction in your life. This internal sense of worth shows others that you value your time, energy, and happiness, and they'll naturally follow your lead. Self-respect means recognizing your own needs and making them a priority. It's about saying no to what drains you and yes to what uplifts you. Too often we fall into the trap of putting others first, believing it's selfish to focus on ourselves. But here's the truth. Respecting yourself isn't selfish. It's essential. I remember a time when I struggled with this. I often found myself saying yes to things I didn't want to do, helping with tasks I didn't have the energy for, attending events I didn't enjoy, all because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. Each time, I felt a little more exhausted and a little less myself. It wasn't until I started listening to my inner voice, the one that quietly said, "You matter too," that things began to change. Respecting yourself begins with small, deliberate choices. It's choosing to rest when you're tired, even if someone else is asking for your help. It's deciding not to explain why you're skipping an event, knowing your reasons are valid simply because they're yours. It's about valuing your time and energy as treasures that aren't freely given away. When you respect yourself, others notice. People mirror the way you treat yourself. If you carry yourself with dignity and self-care, they're more likely to treat you the same way. And those who don't? They'll naturally drift away, unable to thrive in the presence of your unshakable self-worth. But self-respect isn't about being perfect. It's about treating yourself with kindness when you stumble and celebrating yourself when you succeed. It's about knowing that your worth isn't tied to what you do for others or how much you accomplish. It's inherent, simply because you exist. So, take a moment to ask yourself, am I treating myself the way I want others to treat me? If the answer is no, start small. Make one decision today that honors your worth. Maybe it's taking a break, saying no to something that doesn't serve you, or simply reminding yourself, I am enough. When you respect yourself, you create a foundation so strong that no outside force can shake it. And that respect becomes a guiding light, shaping how others see and treat you. It all starts with you. In conclusion, in life, especially as we grow older, dealing with disrespect can feel exhausting. But the key to handling it lies in simple, empowering actions. We've explored 6 transformative ways, using silence as your strength, stopping the habit of over-explaining, creating healthy distance from negativity, holding your head high with confidence, teaching others how to treat you, and, most importantly, respecting yourself. Each of these strategies reminds you of one essential truth. Your worth is not determined by others' opinions or actions. When you embody self-respect, set clear boundaries, and prioritize your peace, you naturally command the respect you deserve. The world may not always recognize your value, but by living authentically and with dignity, you become your greatest advocate. Remember, respect begins with you, and the ripple effect it creates can transform not only your life, but the way others treat you. If this message resonated with you, like, comment, and subscribe for more empowering content.